me introduce you the contact manager class. If you notice, we are using array list instead of array. So to structurally store all our contacts. So why we are using array list is that when we add a contact or we delete a contact, we won't have to update the size of the array. It will automatically do it so that our code won't look hideous.
As you guys can see here, moving on with the contact manager class, here we have a method called contact manager. So basically what it's doing is that we have created a txt file through this, and then here's some kind of separations for it. For example, all the data that's input, and they will be separated by this comma, and then separated by this, every piece of data will be stored into these arrays. So the first data, when just separated by the comma, will go into array 0. The second data, when separated by comma, will go into array 1. The third data when separated, and etc, etc. So this is basically how the txt file is going to be working here. This is a basic process of it and the creation of it.
So as you can see, there's a method called add new contact. So how does this work? So at the start, when user want to add a new contact, so they will type in 1. So after that, this add new contact method will be called. So once they want to add their new contact, so they have to enter their first name, last name, phone number, email, etc, etc. So we also added one more thing to make it easier for them. So that's these are some categories they can save their contact in, basically general, family, friends, and classmates. So how does this work? So this is like our so once they have categorized every contact, and then it will be saved into this through these variables into contact text file.
So let's talk about show all contacts feature. So if the user chooses number 5, which is this one, show all contacts, this method will be called, which is print all contacts. So this is the contacts we are using for loop to print out all the contacts, with this being the header of the window.
So we've talked about how to add a new contact. We've also talked about how to show all contacts. Now let's talk about how we search a contact. So if a user wants to search a contact, they will enter the option 2. And when they enter the option 2, we will here call this method search contact method. So this will direct them here, and then the system will ask them whether they want to search the contact by email or by phone number. One thing that you might notice here is that why we don't have an option to search by name. That is because names can be redundant. For example, 2 people can have the same name as Chan, and so when the system is looking for the name, it will find 2 queries, and then it will not know what to display and what not to display, as each name is not unique. That's why we've only chosen options that are unique. Each person have their own unique email, each person have their own unique phone number. Okay, so let's just assume that I'm searching by email. So the system will ask me to search by my email. So it will ask me to enter my email. So when I enter my email, it will match to see if my email input is equal to any of the email inputs in that email column in the txt file. And then if it finds it, it will use this get email method, and then come here, use this method get email here to retrieve that email and display it to me back here using this format. And then if the system did not find any email that is equal to my input, then it will display that contact not found. And if So as you guys know, all the input from users will first be saved in these variables. So what this method update file does is that it gets all the values from these variables and then it stores it or it prints it on the println file or on the txt file so that it can be printed on the txt file. So this is a very crucial method that is called every time. So as if you can see here, so whenever we add a new contact, all the information are stored in the variables here, and after they're stored there, we will call this update file method so that the information from here can be stored back to the txt file. This is not only exclusive to the add new contact method but also to the added contact method along with the remove contact method, so that the txt file can be updated with everything that's going on and what the user is asking for.
Next feature is show contacts by category, basically show categories. So if a user want to show contact in categories, then the user will type in 6. So after typing in 6, the show by category method will be called. So after that the show by category method is called, so it will ask user to whatever category they want to search their search contacts in. So basically we have given 4 options, right? So family, friends, classmates and general. So basically if a user want to search all the contacts in that specific category, for example family, so this is it'll be used get category method to retrieve data from the contact text file. It will search with this family category if those contacts have this category in it, so all the contacts which are from family category will be shown. So and it comes on to every single category, for example friends, classmate, general. So each category will be searched in that context, so if and the contacts will be shown in the display.
First of all, we have initialized all the variables. So each variable has 2 related methods, one for retrieving that variable and another for setting, updating that variable with the newest values if the user wants to make some changes. So first name and get last name, so these are for retrieving, and then set first name and set last name and set phone number. So these are for saving the data in the variable back to the text file. So at last there are method called contacts. So that is a class constructor for structuring all the data in the text file. So we learned this method from a website called W3 Schools. So finally we have a method called toString. So we have used some techniques like called twisting method to format the data in a specific format when users ask for the data. So every time when someone asks the system to display the contact information, so all the data in the text file will pass through this method and then get formatted. So then the results will display to the user.
So now I'll be talking about the explanation of driver.java. So the 7 instructions are stored in the method show menu. So the loop will call this method every time when asking users for input, so that users can see which option means what. And then there's a loop. The loop will go on until true becomes false, which will only happen if users input 7, which means they want to exit the program, and then the loop will stop. We also used a switch function to carry out different procedures based on the input of the user. For example, if somebody wants to add a contact, they will have to input 1. Then we will call the add new contact in the contact manager.java file. When this method is called, then we will call the update file method in contact manager.java, so that the values inside different variables can be stored back in the text file.